You can't go and add to this. Here's how it's done. 1/4 inch, usually binding on the bias, but not so much anymore. They've stopped doing that too. So 1/4. You can't add seam allowance, it's just a slit. You have to use what you have. What you have is 1/4 inch. No, it's not. Hold on, let me do something because I forgot the pressing part. I'm gonna cut this off, 1/4. You don't need any more, don't add any more, don't make it any more, because it's just gonna get in your way. You go and you press this in 1/4 first, okay? You do this from the right side of your sleeve. So this being the right side of my sleeve. Where'd that penny? Okay. I'm gonna take this off because I gotta do something. Oh, nice. Because when we sew this, we sew it like this. Is it all coming back to you now? Anyone? Now I slid it here because it's paper. That's how it's sewn. So this opens like this. And it's fabric, not this. Straight. So I pin the sleeve onto the binding, and here's how it goes. And I sew right into this point. You've not done this, anybody?
No, not yet.
What are you doing? You doing collars? What are you doing?
Collars. We just finished collars.
Okay, so you're
And
gonna go to this.
We're gonna do yoke, and then I think that's
And then you're gonna be able to answer all the questions and razzle dazzle Miss Rose when you get over there. Remind about the screws and the this and the that. So you have to sew it like this on an angle. It's 1/4 inch seam. Everything has to be done. You sew into the point because that's a point. Now remember that when you have other points that you have to sew into. And then this was pressed into position. Did you ever make these? Yeah. So you're not going ooh and on, you believe me. Then you sew that 1/4 inch and you wrap it around. It's really easy. And there's your binding. Doesn't look easy. It's paper and fiddling around. And then you edge stitch. I don't edge stitch on this side. I edge stitch on the right side. But I've got the binding in place. Boom. Edge stitch right over it.
How about the 1/4 inch?
No, whatever this is. It has
So
to
ma-
match this. I have to sew the cuff on the
Well, you
bottom.
said, for the cup, you added a 1/2 inch there, but you had said 3/4 on the,
No, I didn't.
yes you did, I wrote down 3/4.
3/4 is the amount I lengthened.
3/8 for the cup.
I said, yeah, all right.
But then you
When
added
somebody said that. What's the difference? Let me show you. This is 3/8. No more. Here's 3/8, and that's a half. What's the difference? That's how much the difference is. And
the
what
shirt-
difference does it make?
So the shirt should have a 1/2 inch hem on the bottom, because that one has that.
Well, unless, are you doing this full scale, half
Yeah.
scale? So that's why I say, yeah, whatever you're doing, whatever you choose to do, whatever is gonna make sense to you and sink in and help you to remember that all enclosed seams have 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. That's the rule. I'm not going against the rule. I'm just saying if the rule's not working for you in this scenario, Don't use the rule. Find something that does, because the end result will be minimal. Not only that, but this is going here. Then this folds back and goes here. All of this here inside, right? Then I sew this stuff. And then all of this is inside the cuff, okay? Then what? What about something, hi, you finished? Oh, take it. Something, and don't bring it back. Get out. I don't need it. She needs it. Okay, so what's the difference? What about something, the thickness of the fabric? The fact that at this corner here, I'm gonna have this seam allowance, and I'm gonna have this seam allowance, and then I'm gonna have this seam allowance, plus I'm gonna have this shirt. How many layers do I have going on here? Your 1/8 of an inch is mooked, it's irrelevant. Don't get hung up on those things, because there's something that I call for collars and cuffs like this at the front here of collars. There's too much going on there, and I need some rolling space. I need the fabric to fold back and sit on itself like this, and all that stuff needs to live inside. So if I put this exactly matching the collar, it's not gonna work out properly. It will pull. It'll be too short, like your waistbands. I think I mentioned that before. You get a surprise. By the time you start sewing on one side and you come all the way around, passing over darts and side seams and zippers and linings with darts and side seams and everything, 2 layers. By the time you reach around the other side, you find a surprise. And you're